have to admit, George, all these years in working with players, I think I finally found one that might have ended up almost a little better at it than you.
Who's that?
Well, in 1986, I met a young man who'd come out of A-ball, a bit like you. He had hit about 260 in A-ball.
Right.
He had good genes, but after evaluating his skills and his ability to focus and center and visualize and his recognition skills and so forth, I said to his general manager, I said, this guy can be as good as he wants to be. I don't know what that is. And he was an A-ball player, and he said, I'll keep an eye on him. Well, this was in February. General manager called him up to the big leagues in May. He went from A to AAA and then on up in the major leagues. And he's still doing a pretty good job. That's Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds.
Okay, yeah.
But, Barry has used your principles. I say your principles because you helped us, make certain that these things really applied in Major League Baseball. We thought they did, but we couldn't. You didn't know it. You were the laboratory rat.
Right, I was the rat. But the one thing Barry did that I didn't do was spend about 10 hours a day in a gym lifting weights.
That's true.
You never told me to do that, or else I would have. You said, don't lift weights. It'll make you too tight, and then you won't be fluid, and you won't be athletic. You'll be too muscle-bound. George, just do your eye exercises every day, and maybe jog around the block once or twice, and then go to spring training, and you'll be fine.
I think you did okay. Okay, yeah. I think you did just fine. And when you think about the three principles that George really took out of this, focus, and then center, and then have your visualization. Visualization. I can't even say it.
I couldn't say it. It took me about 3 years to say that word, too.
You can translate all that. Like, George, you probably translate that to golf. I mean, you probably take it over to golf.
I try, but I have too many negative thoughts in my mind at golf. Too many negative thoughts. I remember that last shank or that last chili dip or the last three putt or the last slice out of bounds. But Doc, you're doing this for not only athletes, but you're doing it for corporate America now, right?
That's true. We're even getting into some of the law enforcement and people with some other applications there. Because, bottom line is everyone has the same problem. This, among other things, going into a situation, not knowing what's going to happen. And visual recognition is a big part of it. There's mistakes made, in our law enforcement every day by thinking they see a gun and it's actually a banana in someone's hand. So it's really picking up that slider right out of the hand.
Yeah, so so you do it there. And now translate to golf. I know Jim Colbert's worked with you.
Yes.
Is there anything different in that area for golfers?
Well, obviously the trouble with George is that ball's sitting on the ground, not moving,
and it gives you too much time to think.
And it's true. So a lot of it is keeping the mind clear. And George can do that, and George plays the game of golf for fun and laughs. It's not where he gets his paycheck, right? So when you get the paycheck, you get a little more serious. Although maybe you're doing that now, George.
No, I don't.
I don't see him laugh a whole lot in the golf course.
But the interesting thing about it is the principles that we've worked with. What Jim Colbert has explained is that they help him the most when he's under pressure, when he's really under the gun, got a chance to win. And that's when he was able to just sort of slow down and literally start seeing the ball roll into the hole, see the ball real clearly down the fairway, and just sort of let it happen. It's not easy in golf, and Jim Colbert would be the first one to tell you. But as you improve, you start, part of the improvement is trust. As George knows, he got to the point in baseball that he knew that he was prepared. He relaxed, cleared his mind, and just trusted his instincts based on seeing the ball well. And it's the same kind of principle in golf, learning the mechanism to be able to do that.
Doc, I watched the Masters. Did you watch the Masters this year?
I saw parts of it.
Okay, Phil Mickelson had the lead going into the last day. Ernie Els makes that big push. Eagles 14, 15, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden, Mickelson's 3 back. Mm-hmm. And he birdies 12, and he had a smile on his face. And as soon as I saw him smile under all that pressure, I thought good things were going to happen because he wasn't grinding. He wasn't really going out there grinding. He was still having fun. And I told Dee Brown this year in spring training, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you smile, it relaxes your body.
Absolutely.
And Dee Brown gets in the batter's box every day, even in batting practice, and he's got this frown on his face where his whole body's so tense. And I told him one time, I said, Dee, let me tell you something. You're too tense up here. You got to relax. Smile. Go up there and smile during this round of BP. And, he hit the ball hard a couple times. And I said, now, how'd that feel? And he said, well, I felt a lot more fluid. Mm-hmm. Well, he said, but I can't smile in a game. And I said, why can't you?
Joe Randa does that every
Why
day.
can't you smile in the game? He said, the pitcher will stick one in my ear. I said, no, he won't. Go up there and just smile. Sure enough, he pinch hit that day in spring training, and we were in the third base dugout so I could see his face, man, and he looked like King Kong trying to climb the building. He was so tense. Yeah. And you know, we talk about the tenseness in your hands, but you can be tense in your eyes, too.
Absolutely.
I think that's one of Dee Brown's biggest problems. He gets too tense in his face and his neck, and all of a sudden, he thinks his hands are nice and relaxed, but they're not. It's just the opposite. You got to relax your eyes.
Right. It affects your eyes and affects your mind, and it affects the tracking skills. So no doubt, tension is the underlying, factor that will disrupt the skills that should be there.
So smile, right?
Exactly.
Smile though your heart is big.
And Doc, I think about you every morning. I get up, I put on those glasses you gave me. Every time I put those glasses on about 6:30 in the morning to go sit down and read the paper, I think of you, Doc. He's the one when I was 44 years old. He said, George, I think because he was my first. I've never been to an optometrist before, and I went there and he said, "Oh, you got great vision, no problem. Now we just got to get your eyes to work with the rest of your body." And so he came to spring training. He came to spring training for years and years and years. Tested everybody on the team's eyes, and sure enough, I was retired, and I said, I'm going to go get my eyes checked. The paper's looking a little blurry in the morning. So I go in and check my eyes, and he says, George, I got some bad news. I'm going to write a prescription for you to get some glasses.
He's starting to catch up to the rest of us, Dr. Bill. There's no doubt about that. That makes me feel better.
I'm thinking about sending George a subscription to a big print magazine for Christmas.
Yeah. Big print Sports Illustrated.
I've only lost one pair. I still have one pair. I got to go get my eyes checked again and get a new prescription.
All right. Dr. Bill Harrison, slowthegamedown.com. That's what it is if you want to tune in and get your athletes tuned up right there. Dr. Bill, we appreciate running you down, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Enjoyed both of you. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks.
Good talking to you, Doc.
Yeah, it was great talking to him. Coming up next, Dennis Dodd. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about a little bit about the BCS. They've changed their formula around, and about the latest from the University of Colorado next on Crunch Time.